Yeah, so welcome everyone. And everything that you bring into this space is exactly as it should be. And it's exactly what belongs here. Okay, so whether you're feeling tired, you're feeling good, you're feeling accomplished, whatever's present here is exactly how it needs to be. And I'm really excited to have you finally. We're back here together again after so many weeks. And as Mackie had mentioned, this is the second to the last class of 16 modules that we've been working together on. It's been quite a while. So I hope that this practice has been helping you. And there's been this weekly Monday, Mindfulness Monday, but there's also the Mindfulness Thursdays that you're all always invited to come and meditate together and practice together, so that not only are you getting the class that in the learning management system, and that there's all this support and the skills that you will be developing through this program if you haven't already, but also to have a community to meditate with in person with a teacher that's guiding you. So I just want to remind you that that's there. We haven't stopped, and that it would be great to see you there as we move forward. So let's meditate together. For those who haven't meditated before, please don't feel like it's any big production. Just get comfortable wherever you're at. If you're sitting down, make sure that you feel at ease in your body, relaxed, but awake. Okay, you want your back to be straight. You also want your hands to rest, your arms to be relaxed. And then if it's possible for you, I invite you to close your eyes. Sometimes it's difficult for people to close their eyes, especially in situations like this. If that is the case for you, it's also okay to have them slightly open with a downward gaze. Softly gazing somewhere in front of you, maybe even upward is what works for you, but make sure that your eyes are not moving around. So I invite you to close your eyes or keep them focused at one spot. Take a few deep breaths. Breathing in, filling up your body. And breathing out, relaxing into your seat. Breathing in, feeling your body move. And breathing out, letting the weight of your body sink in to that structure that's supporting you, maybe a chair, the floor, the earth. Breathing in and feeling the life that this breath is offering to you at this time. And then as you breathe out, also noticing that as you breathe out, you're offering the air, the life which is given to plants and the trees around us. As you breathe in, knowing that the plants are giving life to us through the oxygen that we breathe. And as you breathe out, the carbon dioxide that we're breathing out that feeds the plants. It's an exchange, this mutual exchange with nature. Breathing. So take a few moments here and breathe as deeply as you need to, or perhaps a little shallower. Depends on how you're feeling right now. What kind of breath feels good to you at this time? And play with that a little bit for now. See what works for you to help you relax and be alert, awake. So as you feel the breath, notice your body breathing. Notice the movement of your body as you're breathing in and out. You might notice the belly rising and falling. You might feel the chest expanding and relaxing. You might feel the swirling and tingling sensation at the back of your throat as you breathe in and out. Or you might notice the cool touch of air touching the tip of your nose or sides of your nostrils. And as you breathe, you might also notice that there are sounds of life all around you. Might be the sound of my voice, might be humming of a fan or air conditioner or the computer in front of you. You might notice cars driving past or the breeze moving the leaves on the trees. You might notice also your awareness moving from one sound to the next. Notice that sound just comes. You don't plan it. There's sounds all around us. We don't have to look for it. Just notice where your mind gets caught with your awareness, your attention gets caught by whatever sound is here for you right now. And simply know that you're listening, you're hearing these sounds. Not creating stories, simply allowing them to pass through you like wind passes through screened window. I also would like to invite you to notice your body. How does your body feel right now? Do you notice parts that are feeling very spacious, perhaps? Maybe when you breathe in, a little bit more space in your chest, your lungs, your heart. Or maybe you notice some areas of tension in your body, perhaps your lower back or your shoulders, your neck. And see if you can breathe space into those areas there that feel tight, tired. And simply bring your mind's awareness to that part and breathe. Bring the breath to those parts. Creating space, relaxation, and breathing out and letting go. Now I invite you to notice what's in your mind right now. How is the mind? Are there thoughts? What kind of thoughts are there? Now it's okay if there are no thoughts. You don't have to create them. Just keep breathing. But it's very normal for the mind to think. That's what the mind does. That's its job. So you'll notice that perhaps you're trying to focus on sounds or your breathing, and the mind will wander off, thinking about something else, being somewhere else. And that's okay. Just simply bring it back again to your breathing, your body, sounds, whatever works for you to anchor on. Now, I invite you to notice the state of your heart. How's your heart today, right now? What emotions are present for you, if any? It's okay if there are no emotions, too. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to look for something that's not there. Just acknowledge that you're feeling neutral. Now, if there are emotions, see if you can hold them with kindness, gentleness, some care. Allow them to be there without being judged, criticized. It's okay to feel. So we're going to meditate, either focusing on your breath or sounds or your body, any sensations, breathing space into your body, keeping your focus on one of these things. And we'll meditate for a few moments in silence together. Good. Now, with this next breath, I invite you to take a long, slow breath and fill up your body all the way down to the tips of your toes, the soles of your feet. Full body breath. And as you breathe out, you can stretch your body in whatever way feels right and supportive for you right now. And if your eyes are closed, you can gently open them back up. Sometimes we just have this thing that we feel like for life to be working well, it has to be under control and under our control. It has to be working well according to how we want it to be, right? And that's, it's very normal for that to be the case, and it at the same time it's also painful because you realize that there's not a lot of things that can be controlled by us. When we step back and look at how things are working or not working in our lives, for the most part, you might notice that your mind will automatically go to what's not working, what's not going well. And that is our negativity bias. That's very normal because that's the way that our brain is trying to protect us from being harmed. Okay, so it's like our brains haven't quite evolved yet. And so it's doing what it's supposed to do, which is protecting us from threat. And if things don't feel like we're able to control things, it feels like we're being threatened. So we're always looking, what's not going well. But when you shift to looking at what's going well. At first, it might be difficult. Be like, oh no, that nothing seems to be going okay. But then when we, do take that moment and we realize that there are things that are going well in our lives, usually the natural emotion or this quality that arises in us is gratitude. That, wow, there's good things pala in my life. I'm so glad that I'm healthy. I'm so glad that I still have a house to live in. I'm so glad that I'm able to put food on the table. And these are all of the most minute things that we want to be able to accomplish, to be able to sustain and support our families. It's a matter of survival, right? But when we're always on survival mode, though, we're always looking for what's not going to go well. And that's constantly looking and worrying about the future. But when we come to the present moment and we take stock of what's here, even the simplest things, traditionally, the monastics, people who live the spiritual life, there are 4 requisites, only 4 things that we really need in life. And that's not only them, it's including all of us. For us to live, we need food, we need shelter, we need clothing, and we need medicine. Now, do you have those things? So if you have those things, you have most of your needs met. Everything else that we worry about is either because we're fearing that we're not going to be able to meet the needs so that we can survive, or maybe even be comfortable, or we are, we're just worrying constantly about the future. But when we take that moment to just really notice, okay, well, I'm breathing, my body's okay, I'm still healthy, I'm able to work, put food on the table, then things aren't so bad. And then we can bring more gratitude into our lives. And the more grateful we are, the happier we are. Have you ever noticed that? Because we're not constantly looking to fill up our wants, because it's never ever going to be enough. So when we can be with what's here at the moment and say, okay, well, hey, I have everything I need, everything's going okay, then we can cultivate this quality of gratitude within ourselves, that we can start to notice what's going well more often than not. And then you'll notice that you're happier more often times than not, because you see that you're okay, that life is okay. And that doesn't mean that you don't strive for better, you don't strive for more. But what we're trying to cultivate within this practice is to be with what's here right now, and to allow it, and to be okay with it, to be happy with it. And if it's not okay, let's say things aren't going well, and then some anger can arise in you. And there sometimes anger can be useful, because then we're making it's trying to push us to make changes in our lives, because things need to probably get better. Maybe there's some injustices that are happening, but we will not know that that's happening until we are able to take stock of what's present here for us right now, and then notice how we're feeling and what our needs are. And once we know that, then we learn to communicate that, hopefully in a better way, to the people that we're in relationship within our homes, within our workplaces. And then when we learn to communicate with each other better, we learn to appreciate one another. We can start to be grateful that our relationships are present in our lives, that we feel supported whenever things are not going so well. So gratitude is so important. It's important because it brings us to what's here right now and what can we be happy with? Yeah. And then there's the other side too, because we can't keep living life just being grateful and taking and taking and taking. There's the other side too, where we try to cultivate generosity. And generosity doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be in the money side. It doesn't necessarily have to mean material. It can be like smiling at somebody, that's some random person that you walked past on the street today, or saying hello, doing something like a kind gesture, doing some volunteer work for an organization that you care about, or giving food to someone. Recently, my I don't like to go through fast food for my kids. My 12-year-old had basketball training the other night, and of course he wanted Jollibee. And as difficult as that was for me to go through the Jollibee drive-through, I went and I bought him what he wanted. And there was this little boy. He seemed to be around the same age, maybe a year or two older than my own son. And he's there selling basahan or rugs at the drive-through window. I don't like to give cash. I don't like to give money to the kids, also because I feel that their parents should be responsible enough as well to be able to take care of their children. But I had a conversation with this boy, and his name was Edward. And I asked him if he had eaten, and he said no. So I bought him some food and, gave him what he wanted. And he kept saying, kayo na po. And I'm like, no, you're going to eat it. So tell me what you want. And so to have that conversation, and I think really the gift that I really wanted to give him was that time in his life where he feels like somebody really cares and wants to hear him and hear his voice, hear his needs or his wants. So those are some of the things that we can do by practicing generosity. So I did give him food, and that required some money, but I could have just talked to him simply and asked him how he's doing. Like I asked him, do you go to school? How do you do all of this? But to give that time to somebody. And don't we all want to feel like we're being valued, that someone's listening to us, that someone sees us, most especially the people that we love. So we can be that to others. We can be models of that to people as well. And that's generosity. Generosity is giving without expecting anything in return. That's really hard because culturally, as Filipinos, we have this thing called utang na loob. Yeah. So anytime we accept something or give something, there's this feeling of something has to be given back in exchange. So I think that those are one of the things that I would love for us to cultivate, is to be able to receive with our hearts, because that's hard to receive, but to receive in a way that we don't feel like we're indebted to anybody. And then also to give in a way that we are not expecting anything in return from the people that we give to. So when we give, we want to give when in a way that feels good, that feels spacious. So it's not like, okay, you're going to give 50 pesos, but like, it's so hard to let go of that money. oh, I can't, like you're just clinging onto that piece of paper, that 50 pesos. You're going to give it, but it's not full-hearted. It feels painful to give. So what we want to do is to know ourselves well enough so that we can cultivate this sense of generosity where it feels free. And that can mean showing up for dinner on time when you say you would to your family, or giving your coworkers a little bit more of a lending ear, and doing this in a way that's reciprocal reciprocal, that it's in exchange with one another. And that's really the way that the world is going to work now. It's not just always take anymore. Yeah. So for us to be able to give, we need to be able to also feel like we have enough, that we have what we need, and that we are not envious of what other people possess, or the jealousy. That's very difficult, but that's ever present. So keep coming back again to what's here. Keep coming back again to what has heart and meaning for you, and what are your needs. And then remember to look at what's going well. Remember to retrain your mind from the usual looking for what's going wrong to what's going well for me right now. Keep coming back to that. Anything you want to add, Mackie?
I think this is another very insightful session. So thank you for all of these words of wisdom that you share. Um, this was a thought-provoking question for us. For some reason, I happened to be grouped with Meng, with Meng of all people, right? Um, and so we finished early, and then really just to echo what you said, I think when that question is asked, the very first thing that comes to mind is what are the things that are not working well, right? And so it was, you know, for the three of us, it was a bit of a struggle initially to kind of, well, what actually is working well. And then later on, I think the realization is that um, perhaps we take so many things for granted, right? Like today is a normal day, but just because it's a normal day doesn't mean that it's not working well. I mean, your your relatives, your family is well and good. You're not at the hospital. You're not sick, right? You get to eat later tonight. Uh, you get to sleep in a relatively comfortable bed, and for the most part, things actually are working well. It's just that we don't notice them enough, and we kind of take it for granted. And not only things, but probably even people. We take people for granted, especially the ones that are with you all the time. That you actually only see their value when something goes wrong, right? Perfect example would be when your kids are rowdy. They annoy you. They try. They constantly ask you questions that sometimes would probably feel annoying. But when you put it in a different perspective, like they're healthy, they're inquisitive, they're curious, isn't that a wonderful thing, right? Instead of you thinking, it's irritating or it's annoying. So I think that question really kind of grounds us back to there's so many things that we're taking for granted. Once we realize how how much we're taking them for granted, what emerges is that feeling of gratefulness. That I'm so happy that everything is normal today. I'm so happy that my family's well and they're not sick. I'm so happy that I still have a job, that I get to work today, that I get to work tomorrow. Um, so yeah, I think this was a really solid session yet again.
Thanks, Mackie. Yeah, and also for me, when my kids are being rambunctious or a little irritating at times, I like to remind myself to stop everything and then to give them my full attention, because wow, what a gift for me to be able to really connect with them in that moment, you know, because we don't have a lot of time together as they grow older. So, yeah. So Jose said that I guess Filipinos love punishing themselves and are probably not aware to what extent. Very true. Not just Filipinos, most of us, we're all very critical of ourselves because we have this idea that we need to be perfect and that we can achieve perfection, which is really unachievable, by the way. So, and on top of it, because we are very colonized in our minds, and you're right, we're not aware. We're not aware. So a lot of our what we what we believe to be our misgivings or pagkukulang natin are actually passed down to us through other people's ideas and the ways that we should be. So hopefully this practice is going to support us becoming more awake to who we are and awake to how we show up in the world and how we're being expected to show up in the world, and then know whether that's in integrity of who we are or not. So we show up more truthfully, honestly in the world. And that's a gift for ourselves and it's a gift for other people. And there we go again with that reciprocity, that exchange, this generosity, and this gratitude of receiving from other people. Yeah. So let's take a breath together. If you'd like to, you can close your eyes and just take a deep, long breath. Feel it in your body. Really feel your body breathing. Good. And as you breathe out, again, just really tending to what's present here in your body, your heart, and your mind. And know that whatever you brought here today is exactly how you need it to be. You belong. Every part of you belongs. So as we continue to breathe together now, I want to also acknowledge that it's not very common for people to do what we do here together. What you have done by showing up is very special. Breathing together and reflecting, being with community. So may the work that we do here together benefit everybody, all beings, without exception. May all beings be happy, have food, shelter, medicine. May all beings be protected and loved and be peaceful. And one more breath. As you ground into the earth, feeling that earth supporting you. And when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, you can open them back up. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.